Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Old Reader, New Reader. Look, the OG crew's here. Hello.
OG. What does OG stand for?
Well, in this case, Old Guard. OG was just original gangster, right? Was anything else?
That's adorable. Original gangster, the Old Guard. That's right.
Old Guard, I like.
I like Old Guard, right?
I'm gonna go with that. It's
All things considered. How are you two doing today?
Wonderful.
Pretty good.
Good.
Are y'all just getting ready to get snowed in? Because I am.
Well, they have called school off again for my wife and my daughters.
Man, are they going to call it off for me?
I got some Conan videos to record. My brother's having surgery on Thursday, so I got to do like 3 videos tomorrow and then finish watching this Spider-Man show to talk about tomorrow night. But,
the new animated one?
Friendly Neighborhood. Yes.
The one where he was really glad it wasn't woke.
the guy, I saw that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm really excited to be Spider-Man, but I'm really glad it's like not woke though. I
will say I am not a fan of the animation. That's all I will say for right now.
Yeah.
It's just so stiff and dull and But anyway, it does have one of my favorite episodes I've seen of any Marvel show, though.
Nice.
That I think is really cool. But we can talk about that tomorrow. What are we talking about tonight?
Well, tonight we're talking about the Patreon vote for this month. That is Daredevil by Bendis and wait, what's this? I wrote on this. Maleev.
There's 2
Omnibus Volume 1, which contains I had it ready. One second. It contains Daredevil 16 through 19, 26 through 50, and 56 through 60. If you're reading this on Marvel Unlimited, you want to look for Daredevil parentheses 1998 and go from there.
So a quick little recap for maybe you two and everybody that is watching right now. On this show, we have previously reviewed Daredevil Born Again, Daredevil Man Without Fear, Guardian Devil. And Guardian Devil immediately predates this. Like, the Guardian Devil issues that we read, like, after Kevin Smith leaves the book is when we get the Bendis stuff. There was a little bit of a Bob Gale stuff in there, too. And there are missing issues in here, and that's mainly due to David Mack's stories, which introduce us to the character of Echo. Try and watch the Gorge.
So I did, Bruce. I did watch it.
I really want to watch it.
I did watch it, and yes, I do have thoughts, Bruce.
I've been too busy with all the Companion was good.
Yeah.
Watch Hard Eyes. Go watch Hard Eyes. Companion, it was great. Whatever. Heart Eyes, though.
What? Really? Oh, are you saying Heart Eyes or Hard Eyes?
No, Heart Eyes.
I don't know why that's
Loved
hard.
It. It's half rom-com, half slasher, directed by Josh.
Just like I didn't know anything about Companion going in.
Well, I wish I didn't know anything else about Companion.
Yeah, see, that would have made me so mad.
And then they were like, they kept dropping small YouTube, trailers that ruined it.
Yep. Yeah.
I've been in a rut watching horror gnome movies. Something is very wrong with me.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce, I promise I will wrap up Spider-Man, and then that's something I told Amanda I was going to watch because I watched the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary to talk about tomorrow.
So good.
And Cobra Kai. Oh my God.
So Andrew and I just watched yesterday the Superman 2 Richard Donner cut because last month, the month before, we watched Superman 2. So if you guys ever do a show about that, let me know because we watched.
Yeah, she's never seen Superman 2, so it doesn't matter what cut.
You should watch both.
Yeah, I watched.
We really should because they're both.
And then the Donner cut.
They're both excellent. Way better. 1, 3, and 4, but she's never seen 2, so I think.
Oh, you have to. Yeah. But watch the Richard Donner cut. Watch both of them, so you can be like, "Oh, the Richard Donner cut's so much better because it is."
Yeah, little unfinished, but I mean that's what happened. But it's good. Okay, Brian Michael Bendis taking over Daredevil. So in the era of Marvel Knights, when Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti were running Marvel, I mean, they were right about to take over. They decided to hire this guy that they knew that was doing independent stuff. Of course, they took a gamble on him with the title Ultimate Spider-Man, and everything after that is history. Because, oh my gosh, Ultimate Spider-Man was selling so crazy. And then, of course, See, well, I have thoughts about this. I have thoughts about this, which I will share on the video. But first, they got Kevin Smith, and of course, Kevin Smith and Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti are buddies ever since Mallrats. He did some covers for those guys. Did covers for him on the movie, and he paid it forward by saying, "Sure, I'll write Daredevil," and it was a blast. Spoilers for what happens in Guardian Devil, I'm sorry, because it gets brought up here, especially towards the final arc, and that is the death of a character. So just spoilers going into what happened in Guardian Devil, and then this, of course. But Karen Page dies in Guardian Devil. She is killed by Bullseye. So once again, Bullseye kills one of the loves of his life. Because Matt really believes he's only had 2 loves in his life, and even after the whole Milla thing, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But he's in a rut, and we get this story with this kid. So at the very beginning, it's I'm gonna let you two talk about it. If you want me to jump in, I'll be more than happy to.
Yeah, I can jump in on the first part at least. We might need a little bit of your help when we get to the
I got you.
Time skip, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, so Joe Quesada hands over the book to David Mack, who will now take over for the first, I think, 4 issues, right? Issues 16.
Yeah, 16 through 19, or 16 through 20, something like that.
Yeah.
So it starts off where we have Bendis working with David Mack, whose art is incredible. I mean, gorgeous. These 4 or 5 issues, which are beautiful. Like I'm just obsessed.
Have you never read anything by David Mack?
No, I guess not, because I looked him up right away after this. Because I haven't read Kabuki.
Sure. David Mack, straight up Kentucky guy. Kabuki was his thesis for Northern Kentucky University.
What?
That's how he got started. Yeah, I actually met him when he was working at Caliber Press when I was in high school, and really nice guy, and kind of blew up. I mean, not only does he do comic book art, but he does logos for Marvel, for the MCU, and things like that. He does animated stuff.
I mean, just the painted work, right?
Paint, everything.
Yeah. The paint, the pencil work, the combination of all of it was just so gorgeous. And you could have told this, this story could have been told without that, but I think it was just so enthralling because we had it.
Story, yeah.
Yeah. So, especially with some weird mind things going on. So these 4 issues mainly focus on Ben Ulrich, Ulrich, I put an L in there for no reason, who works for the Daily Bugle.
And we've seen him before, right?
Yes, he was. There's actually a flashback here where where he takes a panel from David Mazzucchelli's Born Again, and it's that face after the nurse kills that guy. I know we read it over 2 years ago, but it's that moment that it's that shocking face that David Mazzucchelli used, and I think Alex Maleev reused it here. So you have read a little bit of Ben Urich before, because he was a big player in Born Again, and of course he didn't make it out of the Daredevil TV show, which sucks, because I was like, how are you going to waste a character like this? He was so good, and the actor was solid. I don't understand. Kabuki was first printed in Caliber, and then Image, and then Marvel during their Icon era, and now it's a Dark Horse. So he owns it, so he can shop it around wherever he can print it wherever he wants to print it.
So in this one, we focus a lot on Ben interviewing this young boy, because he's looking into. He's a reporter. Right now, he's been assigned a Kingpin case, but he's also, through kind of doing that, he's found this other story about this young boy who is the son of Leapfrog, right? One of the rogues gallery, but kind of the lame part of the rogues gallery of Daredevil.
And it's one of those. It's a very Bendis thing too. There is a character named Leapfrog, from the world of Daredevil, but for some reason he didn't use that Leapfrog. He used a newly created Leapfrog for this story, which I feel like sometimes an editor was like, we already have a character named Leapfrog, right? You could have just used him. And Bendis was like, nah, I'll do my own thing. Anyway.
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, so he's interviewing this kid. He's talking to this kid in Leapfrog's wife, because Leapfrog's gone missing. And the kid is in this, his brain is basically stuck in this, what we assume at the beginning is this, imagination this matching scenario of Daredevil versus Leapfrog. And he's just repeating this like dialogue as if it's a comic almost, like an action sequence or cartoon.
Them true believers.
True believers in his head over and over again. He just keeps repeating the dialogue, and he'll say like things like, "Oh, and next time," or like "to be continued," and things like that. And people aren't really connecting with him. They don't really understand what exactly is happening in his head, which is really neat, especially with like the art being the way it is by Ava Mack, where it's just this kind of almost like Jeff Lemire-ish in a way.
Yeah.
Is all I can help think of, where it's just different medium throughout and different ways it's drawn. And Ben is trying to work with J.J. Jameson to be like, hey, I got this really cool story, like, because he's always wanted to be a writer. And Jameson, of course, is like, yeah, no. Write about Kingpin. I don't care about this child. Who cares about any of this? He tries to go to the cops, and they're just like, we don't care. Even like finds the cops in like a shower room. It's like, hey, I want to talk to you guys about this. And they're like, no, who cares about Leapfrog? To the point where he eventually talks to Matt Murdock because he knows that Matt is Daredevil.
Yeah.
To kind of loop this all in, finding out eventually that once he actually talks to Matt, talks to the kid, gets his story together, realizes that it was because of his kid's actions that Leapfrog is dead. Because I guess he was near like a broken wire, and so he sprayed water on him, and he electrocuted and died.
Did you? I have to ask because I know every time I've read this, and I've read this, I think this is my 4th time reading this. No matter how many times I read it, I always forget. I think like he's the character from the Twilight Zone. Like, oh, he sent his dad away. He made him into a comic book. Like, he's got creepy powers. Did you all think that when you were reading this story?
No, because I've never watched Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
okay,
I didn't think
he was a creepy kid that had like powers at all.
No, I didn't think he had powers. I thought something had happened and that traumatized him. But I didn't think he had powers.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, you're
But yeah, the whole way it was put together was so neat. Like I wanted to like talk about this in parts. So I feel like this part was what a great like hook to get you started in this omnibus. Because even though it's not Daredevil focused,
it's on.
Like it's such a hook. Like
it
right
wasn't
off
the
the bat.
story I was expecting to start with either.
No.
Like
no, not at all. Especially coming out of like, hey, we just killed Karen Page, and
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
But I'm sure that's odd for like the like regular
readers. If you're reading
like,
this book, you're like, why do I care about Leapfrog's kid?
For me, I'm like, this is great. This is exactly what I want to hear.
I think it is a good hook. Now the issues in between, what is it, 21 through 25? It's the parts of a whole storyline where you're introduced to the character of Maya Lopez, who is Echo, and they did an adaptation on the Echo show and of course Hawkeye, but she's tricked by the Kingpin into thinking that Daredevil is to blame for the death of her father. She later finds out, of course, is Kingpin. And very similar, which I thought this was going to happen when we saw the Kingpin again. She shoots the Kingpin, but she doesn't kill him. What it does is that it blinds him. It makes him blind. So much like Matt Murdock, he's blinded, right?
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're talking about the Leapfrog story. I loved it. An amazing introduction to the Bendis Omni. My friend didn't like that story much. And I can see that it's not for everybody because it's not done in your typical comic book fashion. It's kind of almost like reading, like, I wanted to show some of the pictures in here.
Yeah.
Like at times it's like reading articles, Amanda? Right?
No,
like,
it is. We're like articles. I like the watercolors.
Oh yeah, his use of like clippings and magazine clippings and watercolors, pastels. Like he uses everything. I mean, obviously that picture of Leonardo DiCaprio right there.
I never thought about that.
Oh yeah, that is straight up Leo, right? Like
that really does look like him.
Funny enough, was rumored to play Spider-Man, and this is Peter Parker, the way that he drew Peter Parker.
That's true. He was rumored. He did not. It was Tony.
Back in the early aughts. No, late 90s when they were supposed to do that Spider-Man movie. He was rumored to be the top runner for the Spider-Man movie. So pretty cool that he used them as the model for Spider-Man.
Yeah. That is really cool.
Go on.
Yeah.
I want to give Amanda if you had.
No. I was just gonna say, no. did like this opening story. It's not, I mean, we've read so much Daredevil. It's not what I was expecting. I was expecting to open up a story with Kingpin or open with a story of a trial or whatnot. But instead, it starts with Ben Urich and this kid. And I do like how Ben takes him in at the end too. That's sweet. His wife's like, wait, take a kid in.
It is so sweet.
It is, but everything about it just is a beautiful story. So I think I kind of was almost expecting the rest of it to look like that and also be like that. So I was like, oh, well, it's not though, because it's different art. But then obviously it becomes more of a like what I would expect a Daredevil story to be.
Yeah, but also very different in the way a Daredevil story is told too.
Yes.
So the first story arc is Underboss, and it introduces us to a new character that has moved into Hell's Kitchen.
Mr. Silk.
Oh,
very in your face, right? Like you're not even fighting it, but he's like, "Have you ever heard the story of Caesar?"
Yeah, very neat. Yeah, very neat. Yeah, it was such a It was a typical but like fun intro to it. Yeah, they talked about Caesar, and you have this like shaded room, this dark room. All these guys are on Kingpin, and they all stab him. And you're like, whoa, what's happening?
I was not expecting. I was like, wait a minute.
Like the first issue, right? So like, yeah, we're introduced to Echo, and then the next, like the very beginning is, yeah, we're gonna kill the Kingpin, and I'm gonna be the new Kingpin, and all you guys are gonna follow me. And what's funny is I do like that opening of line about how it was, you know, the way that it used to be, like one bullet is all it took. You didn't have to hire any suits, any like dudes and tights to go and kill your enemy. People knew that if you took somebody down with one bullet, which kind of it comes back later on, of course. So I want you all to tell a little bit about the story, and then I'm actually going to hook up the second monitor to show some of the artwork while we talk about it.
Yeah, so this one we keep going did you do that?
I did that when my camera went out. Was it last 2 weeks ago? But I'm on the near mint, right? So it's the near mint.
Yeah.
I do. Oh God, that's
does it happen to all of us if we turn up our camera?
Yes, I think so. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, I could just
that's so good.
I know Omar hates that right now.
So in this portion, we have a bunch of like back and forth.
Yeah.
So we see it starts at the moment where Kingpin is stabbed. We kind of this is back and forth moment. Where then we see with the lead up, because like weeks before this, we see like the lead up with Mr. Silk joining.
Yes, we learn all about how he came to be, and he's from Chicago originally, and his dad obviously has connections to Kingpin, so he sent him over to New York to work with Kingpin, and that's kind of where so you start to see the pattern, because right after we learn about his Kingpin's death, we see Matt winning a case, and then he's attacked.
Yeah,
as attacked
as Matt Murdock, and he's attacked by. Took notes this time.
Who's he attacked by?
Nitro, the human bomb.
Good. I did not take those.
Do y'all know who that character is?
No.
Nitro is partially at fault for the death of the original Captain Marvel. He's also at fault for the whole beginning of Civil War. He's the one that blew up the schools, not the New Warriors. So yeah, he's one of these characters that's been around in Marvel Comics for a long time. Another character nobody really takes seriously though. But yeah, bunch of.
I have some more that are coming out that I don't take seriously that I cannot wait to talk about.
Oh, please do tell, because I know. Wait.
Well, because we have a back and forth. So we have these moments where we see Mr. Silk coming up. He is friends with Kingpin's son. They kind of grew up together. They both found out what their fathers were into. And he infiltrates it, and he's like, "This is bullshit." Like, and Kingpin knows who Daredevil is. He's not doing anything. Yeah. Let's just get rid of him. And Kingpin's son agrees to be part of that. And Mr. Silk asks Kingpin, like, "Hey, I want you to put a bounty on Matt Murdock." And Kingpin's like, "No,
touch him."
Which I don't have the background for that. So I was surprised when to be like, no, we don't do that.
Clearly, there's like a mutual understanding with Kingpin and Matt.
Yeah.
That we have not learned about, but there is something going on there.
Well, okay. So all of this goes back to Born Again. That was the premise of Born Again.
Oh, okay.
He found out that because Karen, remember, became a hooker and became a
I barely remember.
Boy, I need to reread that.
You don't remember
nothing.
Okay,
Karen, so many books.
Really quick, Karen.
Been a long time, Omar.
Doing porn in Mexico and sold his identity to some kind of pimp.
I guess I do remember that because we
talking
about how we didn't like how she became a hooker. Is that? I think
that was only a year ago. That doesn't feel real.
Yeah, it was a year ago.
That was a year ago. I really thought that was pre-pandemic. But
so anyway, she wasn't a hooker. She was doing bad Mexican porn and sold Matt's identity for a fix within the first page of Born Again.
Dang.
So that's how Kingpin found out. Now, of course, in Born Again, he's the only one that found out because he killed anybody that saw the envelope. Like anybody that had any ties to that envelope. Hooker.
Omar used
the term is sex worker, not escort.
Lady of the evening. Well, Amanda and Maddie, you need to join us for a book club as we discussed Born Again last month.
As James knows, I only randomly pop in the book club if it's happening and I'm drunk. So
there we go.
Always welcome. OR and our Daredevil Born Again. No, it was 2023, so it was a little over a year ago.
Okay, it was almost 2 years ago. We're getting there.
Yeah. All right. So that's since then there's been this mutual understanding between him and Daredevil that nobody messes with Matt Murdock.
Which is kind of cool. That's really cool.
That is cool.
He needs to be the one that takes him out.
Can we talk about though? Because there's a bounty on his head, and it gets worn by Elektra, which is odd at this point. Because I don't remember anything. I don't know this sequence of events because I just read things randomly out of order. But we've already heard in the omnibus, like, man, Matt's really sad because 2 of his girls have been killed by Bullseye, and then Elektra's like, "What's up?
Yeah,
there's a bounty on your head."
Okay, man, comic books. So
comic books are stupid, and I love them, but they're dumb.
All right, so in the original Frank Miller run of Daredevil, where you are introduced to Elektra and Stick and all this mythos that people think, oh, it's always been a part of Daredevil. No, it's not until Frank Miller took over the book that the Kingpin became his arch nemesis. That because he was a borrowed Spider-Man villain, but Elektra got killed at the hands of Bullseye. With her own sai, like he kills her, she dies, and the very ending of his run, like, man, there's this amazing cup. Like, we need to go back and read that run because there's some powerful issues. Like he is contemplating suicide, like after she dies.
Yeah,
and at the very end of that run, it's kind of left open that maybe the Hand, the ninja, clan, were able to resurrect her.
Man, I didn't know that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was inspired by this. By Daredevil.
The foot, the hand, Stick, Splinter. Yeah.
I don't know how that went over my head. I found that out last week. And I have been reading comics.
Randomly you found out?
Yeah. Can we talk about Boomerang? Because at one point, I know we're going to get to the hefty stuff, but are you telling me Marvel has their own Boomerang who has the same color code as Captain Boomerang? And this is allowed.
Yeah, he's another one of those
this is wild.
Spider-Man villains, right?
When I saw him, I was like, excuse me. I was like, is that made of a boomerang and blue face paint? That's so stupid.
He's been around for a while.
So we see this back and forth where we keep going to like the past where Matt's kind of unhinged at this point. Especially post like this attack from Nitro. But he's trying to figure out who's put this hit on Matt Murdock. And he is really going after people. Like almost like, just extra violent in a way. Like really unhinged going after people, trying to figure out what's happening. He's gone to Kingpin and he's like, hey, did you do this? And he can tell that Kingpin's like relieved to see him. And he doesn't even know Kingpin's blind at this point. But he can tell there's somebody new around. And he's worried. And then we go to the present again. And we see Vanessa Fisk comes back, and she is so cool. Yeah, she's so cool because she's like, I'm here to figure out who murdered my husband.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, my son was there? Bet. Dead. call a hit on all of these guys who did this.
She goes
all of them.
Yeah,
so,
she goes crazy.
So cool.
Calculated, very calculated.
Richard Fisk was an established character too. Like in the pages of Spider-Man, he became what was his name? The schemer, and then he became the Rose. And I think the Rose is the most popular villain name.
Like a loser here.
Yeah, and
I literally wrote. Well, that's not a word I can say,
right? Like
I can't
Bendis
say
doesn't.
the word here, but
That's my biggest issue with Bendis. It's like I'm just gonna do what I want to do with these characters, and people love that though. Like if you had never read, like you two have never read about the Rose, this is the way that you would interpret the character. But no, he's a lot different. So if you're like a comic history buff or a continuity, kind of things like this bother you. But much like Matt Fraction or Tom King, I think it's a lot more enjoyable taking it out of continuity a little bit, but still like you have to deal with continuity because there's aspects of continuity in the comic. So yeah, he's been a character. And yes, the Kingpin son, and in this he's kind of a bit of a worm, but yeah.
Well, so is Mr. Silk too, because like it's interesting to see these two characters that are like they've made this choice, which is very like that's stereotypical for a lot of stories. Like you'd see that in something like, I mean, a lot of crime stories where you have the sons are like, no, we're gonna make a big difference because they always make big moves, but the minute it gets too hard for them, they end up being cowards. I'm not going to use the word I was going to use, the word for a cat, but that's why I wrote my notes. And they just go to the cops.
You're right.
When their daddies don't take care of it. It's like Mr. Silk was like, hey, Dad, like, oh, man, I messed up. Doesn't answer him. I goes to the cops.
That bugged the hell out of me. Like, he comes in like a badass. And the story gets okay. I know we're not reviewing the book. I had a lot of issues with this.
He wasn't. No, that's what I want to hear.
I don't think he was prepared for the repercussions. I thought he really thought that they were all going to take care of.
I just think it happened way too quick. I understand the analogy with like it used to be one bullet, and then when they're going around and killing people with just a bullet, and it's a ladies' gun, as the cops and Daredevil have noted, right? A ladies' gun, which they do market ladies' guns.
They do.
I just thought, wow, that was a weird setup that went bad. Like, south really quick. We just took down the Kingpin. We're setting it up for 4.5 issues. 4.5 issues in, then like the bad guy's like, I'm gonna run away. Go talk to my dad.
Wait, Dad, really?
What the hell?
I gotta go to cops.
It felt like a different character, right? Like within just like that. It's crazy. But is
it a different character? Because keep in mind, it's not like he convinced other people to do his dirty work for him. It wasn't like he went and killed Kingpin.
Yeah, but to do that, he had done like I just thought somebody like that doesn't just fool the Kingpin.
Nah, I agree with the man because I feel like this is a guy who was like a nepo baby who really thought I'm gonna have daddy's backing. My daddy would love if I did this, right? He's gonna support me, and probably dad didn't know.
He had enough clout with the other guys, because his daddy had money. He has enough clout that they're like, oh, he could actually do this if we all back him, because we're all fed up. Because he was banking on all of them being fed up with the Kingpin not doing anything about Matt Murdock, and they all knew. So he just needed all of them to fall in line, and they're already mad at Kingpin, and has money. He looks like he has power. Just because he talks a big game doesn't mean he actually has big game.
I think Vanessa called his dad.
Well, I think Vanessa is a bigger.
But I don't think he banked on Vanessa. I don't think he thought she wasn't going to come back. I don't think he thought she cared that much about her husband because she's in Switzerland, right? That's where they find. That's where she gets the call.
Yeah, that's where they come.
I don't think that he thought that she cared enough. And also, I think
my whole point was that I think it takes a lot more than this sleazy guy to fool the Kingpin. Because he had been planning this 3 months ahead of time.
Yeah, but he's blind now.
Months of a plan.
He's blind now.
No,
he didn't get radioactive blind.
Yeah, he just got regular blind.
Just like Milla. Okay, I've learned that.
Not just like Milla. She been blind. Kingpin's new blind.
Yeah, he's new blind. He still doesn't get used to it.
Stop it, you two. We're gonna get canceled. All right.
We're not gonna get canceled for saying
you can't say new blind. That's not a thing.
You can say new blind.
All right. So that's
he
Underboss,
lost America,
right?
but that made me sad.
Yes. So eventually, yes, to sum that up, he does go to the cops and he gives them Matt's name. And what do? One of them decides to sell it to the press because they want money. I don't know. How much did they get for that? Did they say?
I think he wanted money, but he also wanted to impress his wife, who was obviously like trying to leave him.
Yeah, clearly she did not like him.
Yeah, I think he wanted money.
Yeah.
Because I mean he lost the bet, right? So
yep, he lost the bet.
Why would he
Old
not?
money blind.
Old money blind.
What does that even mean, Blas? What are we trying to say? So that's what starts the next story arc, which is, everybody knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, maybe because of the Daily Globe. And this is where you get Jay Jonah like yelling at his people, like, "What the hell is going on? You people should be out there doing things." And Peter Parker comes in, and he's like, "I know Matt Murdock's secret, or I know
and
Daredevil,
not him,
and it ain't him." And then my boy Ben Urich is like, "I know that for a fact."
Well,
that
and what I love is they both say this, and they go outside and be like, "You know who he is, huh?" Like, yeah, they just believe each other. And I'm like, what are you talking?
How do you guys know? Like, how do you just automatically believe each other? Because Peter Parker knows Ben's a good person, so
y'all know. Yeah, I know.
You know, yeah.
So yes, Jay Jonah hates the Daily Globe, so he went off. Which this is where that conversation between Matt and Foggy take place, where Foggy's like, "Well, maybe it's time, to retire the costume."
Yep, hang the cow up.
I love that he gets temptation from his lady friends. Like first it's Natasha, and she's like, "Hey, let's go jump on some rooftops and stuff."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm busy. I have to do things." She's like, "Whatever."
Yeah,
he's like, "Put your clothes back on. Like, I'm doing stuff right now." She's like, "Oh, you're so lame right now."
Right.
Natasha,
and she rats him out to Elektra. Eventually,
she just lies to Elektra. She's like, "He needs to see you right now." And Elektra shows up, and poor Matt Murdock is like, he's spilling his heart out. And he's like, in his inner monologue, he's like, "Stop, don't say this to her." And he's like, "I wish we never left that room." And her heart doesn't even skip a beat. Like, she could not care less.
It's like, it's the ace up his sleeve. The I love you. Oh, damn it, I should have said it.
I mean,
Matt.
So yeah, their relationship during this time is almost non-existent, because in the Fall from Grace storyline, where she did officially come back, it wasn't like they got together. She kind of went and did her own thing, and she disappeared for a long time. She was with Wolverine for a little bit, like trying to that's when he turned into an ogre and he needed somebody to train him again. That's
into an ogre.
Oh my god, it's awful. The no-nos era, where his adamantium's ripped out of his body. Oh yeah, anyway, we'll talk about that another day, I'm sure.
I want to read him turning into an ogre.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah, that's what
that lost a lot of sales for Marvel Comics. He just looks like an ogre, like a caveman Wolverine, and Elektra becomes his master. So yeah, they're not in best of terms. They don't really talk, It's kind of a weird she should be dead. But hey, she's here, and I guess we'll team up from time to time. And yeah, Mr. Hyde comes looking for Matt Murdock. So you have villains that are now.
Can we talk about that scene? Because it's so good. Because right now there's all these press in front of Matt Murdock's house, because they're convinced, even though this is the dumbest headline ever, why would they believe this?
They're like, this blind man, why would he be Daredevil?
Exactly. But they're outside, and Mr. Hyde shows up, and they're filming this, some of these guys. And like, who is this guy? They're like, give him a second. They always say their name. And then he does.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really cute.
That was really good. I was like, he did.
And then, so, Matt could take this one or two ways, right? Like, he hasn't put on the suit for a while, and he decides to put it on. But I do love when Natasha comes. Like, she even fools Foggy into not real life. Alex Maleev's artwork, by the way. Whew. My goodness. Really nice. Really nice. Really nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, and there's these great moments here too, because before this with Foggy, Matt and Foggy talk, and there's this whole conversation where Foggy really lays into him.
He does.
Because he's like, "Hey, you're losing it, and every time you put on the suit, someone gets hurt. You are perpetuating this cycle of." I mean, he like a little too much, honestly.
Yeah,
he starts pointing fingers at him.
Yeah,
it's your own fault. Those girls are dead. basically.
Yikes.
And he brings it up to Elektra when he sees her, because he's still in a vulnerable place. Like it even starts off with this like, flashback of them together. And he's like, oh yeah, Foggy says this. And she's like, yeah. But she's also like, I don't ever take, responsibility for a death that you didn't commit with your own hands. And he's still not there.
Yeah.
It was a really it was a hard moment. Foggy really lays into him. It's rough.
Yeah, and this is coming from a friend, right? Now, this isn't the only time that we've seen Matt outed. I mean, even in the Silver Age, that's why he created his twin brother, Mike Murdoch. Oh my God, you don't know who Mike Murdoch is? Oh my God, I hope they added it.
God.
It's literally it's Matt Murdock pretending to be somebody else with a hip style in the 60s. So he says things like Daddy-O, and it's amazing. Now later on, because was it Charles Soule's run? Thinking Charles Soule's run, we actually get a Mike Murdoch, and then
why do I remember that? Or am I thinking about did Hawkeye have a brother? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Hawkeye also has a brother.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Bobby Nation?
Hello.
Love the scene where Matt is on the light pole above the where he takes off his mask, and he's like, "What am I doing? I'm an idiot."
Yeah. Thank God none of them looked up, I guess.
Right. Well, it's such a weird scene, right?
Right.
Because it seems like he's closer, and I was like, "Whoa!" But then he's like, not at all. It's like, stop doing this on rooftops. Anyone could look. You already been trying.
I know. Now you're just making this.
So Matt refuses to give in. He's like, I'm gonna
sue him.
I'm gonna sue him.
Have a nice fight with a Spider-Man. That kind of helps, I think.
Yeah.
With Mr. Hyde.
And then we get the White Tiger storyline where White Tiger is
was rough too.
He gets accused of murdering a cop.
Yeah, a cop.
And that was a character that was created by Bill Mantlo and George Perez in the pages of the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. So he'd been around since the 70s, but another character not really utilized. So
because we finally have our court case scene for a while.
Yes,
where he's working to defend him.
Yeah,
because it's like watching Law and Order, but just law.
Asked by Luke Cage and to help them.
Yeah. And you get to learn a little bit about White Tiger's power, right? Based on his necklace that he wore, and that does come to play in the second omnibus.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they still find him guilty, and Matt knew, right? He could tell that the jurors he should have been better at pointing things out. And,
boy, I hate that prosecutor.
Oh my God, it's the worst.
He was the worst. He was so terrible. I don't know who. Yeah, that was.
I need Dan to come in when we do stuff like this and be like, "Is this okay?"
Yeah, can that even?
Okay. There's only been one lawyer that has actually written Daredevil. Actually, two. Is New Spooky Channel watching? He corrected me. But Charles Soule is the only attorney that has written Daredevil.
Oh, Charles Soule's attorney.
And Bill Mantlo, I think, wrote one issue of Daredevil. Those are the only two people that have actually
who are actually attorneys.
Had been to court as a lawyer. Right?
That's who he looks like. I was trying to who does the prosecutor look like that's famous? It is
but that's old Al Roker, not new Al Roker.
No, he lost before the bypass surgery or Ozempic. I don't know what he's on.
This name was rough because he brought in all of these, in the other his opposition called it in the beginning. He's like, oh, he's gonna bring in all these celebrity people because he brings in a bunch of superheroes.
Reed Richards,
Doctor
Strange. Because Luke Cage even said it. This is almost like it's your trial.
He's like, you're gonna bring in Daredevil.
Yes, I know. That was.
But man, it was so sad because everything it ends up not working out for him, and Matt's trying to keep him calm, almost as if I don't know about you, Amanda, but I felt like in that moment when there's the violence breaks out, right, and he fights back against them. In my mind, I was like, oh, Matt set this up for us all to learn something and for him to get off free, and that's not what happens.
Exactly. I was expecting it to go his way. So when it didn't, I was like, wait a minute, how is this going to end? And then, of course, it ends with White Tiger
getting shot.
Yes.
Because he he went crazy in the courtroom because he was upset, and he said, "You lied to me. You said you could help me get free." And he's like, "I really thought I could," but it just shows the lack of compassion that the public has for superhumans, superheroes.
And that's definitely all it is. And nothing's different than that right now in real life. But anyways, it was really sad. Really depressing.
Yeah, it was very sad and depressing. And of course, Luke's.
Did it make you all mad that he didn't break character and go and try to save him?
Yeah.
Or did you think that's something that just Daredevil does? Like, he's not gonna risk his identity. Do you think he would have stopped it? I guess. Do you think he could have stopped him getting killed?
I think he probably could have, but at some point, like, do you think it maybe in his mind, he's like, this is something that if this is a decision he makes, I can't just swoop in.
Yeah, because it's all about exacting justice, right? But it wouldn't be justice on the White Tiger. He's acting out because he's upset. He would maybe try to stop it. I don't know.
And then, I mean, Luke's pissed at him after this.
I think he was hoping that he could talk him down.
Well, Luke is pissed for several reasons. That was kind of one of them. But the other reason was because he owned it. Like, right? Like, he was like, he owned that lie that he's not Daredevil, that he is Matt Murdock and he's going to sue the papers. And yeah, we got this new drug with the Owl arc.
That Owl arc.
I gotta tell you, I did not care for the Owl arc. It just fell out of nowhere, and I did not care for that man.
I was waiting to get through that one.
That's the arc that introduced Milla, though, right? You didn't like
I mean,
Milla?
I like the Milla stuff. I like the Owl. I don't understand why they'd use him at all. I think he's such a boring villain.
Because he's
a weird villain. I was like, how is he powerful? How is he?
Oh, he's a mutant, right? He's one of the mutants.
But like, what does he do besides be a guy with weird hair?
He's he has owl-like powers.
What are
does he have really great eyesight?
Great eyesight and
really smart.
I don't know.
Let me look him up right now.
And,
did forget that he
gets in the middle of a Tootsie Pop without actually biting down. Like,
good for him. Did we? Well, we did forget that he did find the kid who actually shot the cop. And
he found the kid that was with the guy that shot the
that's
cop.
right.
And it turns out, it turns out that the kid that shot the cop had OD.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it was already too late.
Okay. Here's the Wikipedia for the Owl. His abilities: extremely skilled criminal organizer and money launderer.
Tawny. Money launderer.
Superhuman sight and hearing. Enhanced strength,
resilience.
He can't fly. He can glide short distances.
It's a knockoff penguin.
He has hollow bones, enhanced reflexes.
Did you like him in the Netflix show?
Was he in that?
Was he in it? Man, I have to rewatch the Netflix show.
Yeah, he was in it.
I'll watch it. Oh, wait,
he wasn't
coming out soon, right?
The show comes out in March.
March 4th. So in a couple of weeks.
Is that true? Is that Sean? I don't know if it's Sean. Hollow bones? I don't know if he's got hollow bones. I can't remember. I do know he's got those claws, much like Wolvie.
It says in the wiki he's got hollow bones.
I'll edit that wiki.
Yeah.
Because anybody can edit the wiki.
The owl arc was interesting because so one thing we didn't mention is Matt does decide to fight this and he sues the Daily Globe.
Yeah.
400 million.
Woo! Yeah. Man was going for everything.
And then they wanted to settle.
But during this arc, the editor-in-chief, he is murdered. It is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's murdered horribly. He's decapitated, but not like somebody cut his head off, like somebody ripped his head off.
Yeah. And so you have Matt trying to figure out, who, because basically when the Kingpin, who's not actually dead.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to note. The Kingpin is actually, they were able to, the people who were still loyal to him, his guy, I don't remember his name, was able to get him somewhere to safety, but he still needed a doctor. and he was going to be in a coma for a while, recovering. And in the meantime, Vanessa like sold off all of the different factions of his business, all this stuff. And so there's like a vacuum, right, of power. And that's what the owl has been trying to fill, essentially.
And they were like, man, this guy is so lame. This is the lamest guy we've ever seen. He sucks so bad.
Sucks so bad.
I don't think I've ever liked an owl arc in the comics.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, the best part is seeing.
But I also don't like Penguin like in the comics. Like he's the same kind of character. I don't see how they're at least maybe the owl can fight a superhero, whereas the Penguin just has a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he's just weird.
Was the
at least
a regular person? In
yeah, he was the older guy in the show. Didn't
We're
really have any
introduced-
powers.
He's just a dude.
He was an
That's
old
better
guy.
than being an owl man.
I guess, yeah.
So then next arc, because who cares about this one?
We haven't talked about Milla, the love of his life.
Yes,
about
he
Milla.
does meet Milla in the process during this arc.
He falls for her hard.
As Daredevil, he saves Milla after she's almost hit by a bus. And in that moment, because he was, oh, you're blind. And they have this kind of moment. And she's like, I cannot stop thinking about him. And she touches his face. And her friend's like, oh my God, I heard that he's actually Matt Murdock. Do you think if you heard his voice, you would know? And she's like, yeah, I totally.
That's really good, Maddie. That sounds exactly.
And so she goes
That's exactly how I envisioned it in my head.
to the law office to go talk to Matt. And in front of everybody, which is, I think, is a little rude, Milla. She's like, yeah, you saved me as Daredevil. And he's like, what?
He's like, wait, no, I'm not Daredevil.
No, luckily it's just like Foggy and like Jessica, right? But actually, Jessica Jones didn't know either, which I didn't realize, but we'll talk about that later.
Speaking of retcons.
That was really weird because she's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Bodyguard.
And they just have this moment, and then Matt is like, wow, I cannot stop thinking about this girl. And Foggy's like, can you stop, please? Everyone's trying to kill you. You have a bodyguard. We do not have time for this.
Matt's always got time for ladies, man.
And he's like,
let's go on a date.
girl, you smell so good.
Let me take you walking around New York City.
Let me tell you the history as to why this is called Hell's Kitchen.
Both dates, right? Because both times he's like, let's go walk, let's go out, let's do this. And then he gets attacked every time. And she's like, okay, it's fine. Oh my God. But I still like her a lot. I really liked her during all of this.
Yeah.
I did too. I like Milla. But much like everybody else that had any kind of romantic
It doesn't last.
things with Matt,
they can't let him be happy.
ending. Well, it doesn't have a great ending, that's for sure.
No, it
So
doesn't.
the Kingpin is back.
Oh,
Yes.
that was really cool.
Yeah, he is the one responsible for all of this. He's coming back to silence those who know about Matt's identity and regain his power. And in doing so, he brings back Typhoid Mary, who I've never seen before. So.
I've heard that name before, so I think I must have read.
That's okay. It really felt like Bendis never read about her either.
She looks very different from the other pictures. But I love the moment where, because eventually we do see Mr. Silk again, and he's in prison, running his damn mouth.
It is.
And then he's like, hey, we gotta bring you back to your son. It's like, okay. He's like, did I tell you guys that Matt Murdock is Daredevil? And then Fisk is just there, like,
I'm gonna
run this punk in the ground.
Yeah,
He's gonna be such a Kingpin fan during this. But I'm like, yeah, everything he does is right.
Yep.
Everything he does is correct.
Yeah.
Vanessa Fisk is right. Kingpin is right.
I never thought I would root for Fisk. But then again, yes, maybe I do think I would root for instances.
Why does my Omni have an R on the nose? That was because Photoshop, the guy that put the cover together. That's the first printing. I don't think this second or the last printing, the third printing.
What is it?
I wasn't fuming. I'll be honest with you. This is my fourth time reading this run, and the first time I hated it. I absolutely hated this run. I was like, these characters aren't acting anything like the way they should be acting. I don't think this guy has done enough research on a lot of these characters. So you know how you guys were complaining about something happened in Milla's run?
Yeah.
Brubaker, or not you two, but the people in the chat about how something happened to Milla in Brubaker's run. That's kind of the way I felt about a lot of characters in this run. I was like, how are they going to do this to this character? It makes no sense. But again, if you haven't read a lot of comics, if you haven't read a lot of Daredevil, and this is your first Daredevil, or even like, your fourth or fifth Daredevil, like it's a pretty good story for what it is. So yeah, it goes in places I didn't expect it to go. The second to the last story arc in here is the big setup for issue number 50, which is a big anniversary issue, which is really cool because you get a lot of classic Daredevil artists that come back to draw this big fight against the Kingpin. So once Matt finds out that the Kingpin is back, he's like, well, fuck that. He just got this guy killed. I'm going to go and see him. And
I thought that I had known about. I was like, yeah, I've definitely read about Typhoid Mary. It's not from reading; it's from Marvel Snap, and that is the reason.
Oh my God, Maddie!
That's how you know who it is.
It's not from reading anything. I was like, yeah, I've definitely heard that, but from what? I'm looking.
She's been around since the night. She was created by Anna Cinti.
Oh man, her original artwork is awesome. She looks great.
I like Alex Malev's take on the character.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I like her with the bigger hair, but I'm partial.
You like that? Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm partial to this. I like this.
Very 80s. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
John Romita Jr.
Early 90s, I guess.
So that's
here. She looks like she's skinnier, and
it's actually on the cover of the omnibus that comes out in March.
Oh.
Ooh.
So this
is
Daredevil.
Well, that's
okay. Here's the thing, Ryan Wilson. Some of us are newer readers, and by newer I mean 6 years.
The title of the show, Old Reader, New Reader.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm pretty sure.
Because I'm a DC lady first. I'm just slowly picking up Marvel stuff, but not in sequential order, just randomly reading it.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you two talk a little bit about the ending, and then we can rate it and talk about, what you all loved or didn't like, or.
So at the ending, Mary shows up. They get in a fight. Mary stopped by Jessica Jones. Here's my notes. It's just they get into a fight. Milla still in the map is what I write here.
She is. Mm-hmm.
Still in that. Even after she almost, gets attacked. She gets attacked by Bullseye. But you know what? He was still there. He did not let him get her this time.
No,
he saved her.
Yeah, Bullseye comes back.
Karen either, so apparently.
Bullseye's back, so it's a big point of contention.
Yes.
I don't think Bullseye in particular looks very cool or is very interesting in this run. Personally, at this point,
yeah, I hate the movie look.
He shows up, and I think he doesn't have his costume on. He's just like a regular guy with the bullseye on his head, and was kind of a letdown, especially with the way it's with me not having a lot of bullseye like experience or like reading, and the way they build him up. It's like, oh, he's killed two of his girlfriends, like he's the one, and he shows up, and I was like, this guy's kind of lame. You guys built this up for nothing.
Which is the look they went for in the movie with Colin Farrell.
Yeah, that is a look, yeah.
Which is awful. Like,
but
I always hated that look.
What is cool at this point, before we get to like I call it the time skip. It's not. It's like 4-issue skip.
Yeah. No, this was before the movie.
But
that's why there's a what's it called? Oh my God, I think actually there's a Bendis Easter egg in the movie in the court scene, because Amanda and I just it's been 2 or 3 years since we did. Wasn't really that bad. Oh, but there's actually, I think one of the judges is named Bendis, or the lawyer. I can't remember, but this is before the movie came out.
I wanted to talk about, so eventually Daredevil does fight Kingpin again. Now the Kingpin is back. But it's this really cool moment where the art style changed. He talks about how we were just fighting him again and again and again. And they, I assume, bring back artists of the past to draw different.
Yeah, you've got the legendary Gene Colan. You've got John Romita.
Very cool.
Artists that are no longer with us, unfortunately. John Romita Sr., Michael Avon Oming. People that have worked on the book. Joe Quesada. David Mack comes back for one panel.
Yeah.
I loved this. I thought this was very cool.
That was a really cool way to honor all of them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a good way to like talk about just like the cycle of like your superhero versus their like main nemesis. Exactly. I would love this to happen with every hero and their nemesis, honestly. That was really cool.
But what happens though? What happens that makes it unique after he beats the Kingpin?
He decides he's going to take over.
Yeah.
He's going to be the Kingpin.
Look at me. I'm captain now.
I'm captain.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Which is so
weird.
Weird because it's not, he doesn't want, like, that's not, he doesn't want power.
Not even what he wanted, because in the 5 issues after that, right, he was like, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, he just.
And I think he's talking to Foggy, right? And Foggy's like, yeah, but that's what else did you expect, dude?
Yeah, that's what you said, my God.
Like,
my brother in Christ. You can't just be saying, hey, it's mine now. And be like, oh, no, I didn't actually.
And then, of course, all of the other superheroes are pissed off from the other boroughs because now that Matt is the Kingpin, all of these other bad guys are going to Queens.
Yeah,
right.
Before we talk about that run, there was another 5 issues again by David Mack where he brings back Echo, and in a weird way, the Kingpin is in that, even though the Kingpin was just beaten at the end of this run. So I felt like editors didn't tell David Mack that the Kingpin just got beaten and thrown in prison forever until the next time. But now. After that, we get people were like, what's going to happen? Because that issue of Daredevil, those issues of Daredevil were just about Echo, like trying to find herself. It's actually Vision Quest, which is kind of what they did an adaptation of in the Echo.
In the Echo series. Yeah.
So people were like, well, what's going to happen? He's the Kingpin of Hell's Kitchen now. And that's when we get a little bit of a time jump. You start seeing that he's married now.
Yep.
Married Milla, which is a big shocker, right? Like, because
we find out.
Ben's like, you're married?
Yeah, she tells Ben, no one knew. She's like, yeah, 4 months ago. Like, no one knew they got married until she told Ben because she needs Ben to find Matt.
Yo, and for the first time in a long time, I need to find this page, but so we don't know where Matt is. We know that he hasn't been Matt Murdock during this time, right?
Yep.
Like, we know that he's been basically... I found that a really weird move. I don't know how you all felt.
No, I thought it was odd. I assumed it, like when I was reading it, I assumed it's because of issues I hadn't read. But like when the way you're describing it, it just seems like everyone's like, oh man, you've been gone for a while, man. But like we had no context for this.
Right. And we didn't either. It's just the way that Bendis writes his stories.
So
like stupid. I found it really odd that he beat the Kingpin with his mask off. Like he had his mask on when he took the Kingpin down, and then he took it off when he was talking to those other guys. He's like, "You see what I did to that guy?"
Yeah, why did you do that? Why did you
after fighting, right? Like I'm gonna fight this. I'm gonna sue this guy. At that point, I don't think he cared. But one of the characters that Bendis brings back, and it's another obscure character, but my goodness, the way Alex Maleev draws this lady, it's Night Nurse.
Oh yeah, I was wondering who Night Nurse was.
Dude, that is a very muscular looking lady.
Yeah, she is.
Listen, that felt kind of like, like an adult film sort of look. And I was like,
that's what I was thinking too. I was like, she ain't been drawn like that. She ain't been drawn like that.
I was like, you're not the kind of comic artist that traces from that media. That's really weird.
He's not Greg Land. So Night Nurse is another established character and has been a big part of Daredevil. I mean, so much so that what's her name? Rosario Dawson played her in the all the shows like Punisher and Daredevil and Defenders. Or was she only in Iron Fist? I can't remember if she was in Iron Fist or not.
I thought she was in Daredevil.
She was in Daredevil, but she was in the other shows too. Thank you, Jack, in a West End of town.
Iron Fist never happened. You're imagining it.
Gross. Iron Fist, the show. Oh, it was so bad.
No, that didn't happen. That's so weird.
Hello, Nurse. Yes, Doug. Wow. Anyway, so Matt's been laying up here, and Ben is like, "Hey, Matt, what's up?" Matt's like, "I'm good. You good?"
That's so weird.
So this is Yakuza coming after Matt because now he's Kingpin.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of lame.
Yeah,
I thought that distracted. Yeah. Like, the focus should have been on this whole, like, hey, let's talk about how Matt had a breakdown, which they do talk about a lot. They're like, hey, Matt, you did have a breakdown. To the point where Mila's like, are you just with me because, like, you're still sad about Karen? Yeah. And he's like, listen, I just need to think. And she's like, bye.
Yeah,
he's never been good with it. Like, he's smooth with the ladies at first.
Yeah.
But he's never been good with the ladies, you know, like holding on to them.
Through, yeah.
He just can't. He doesn't say the right things, and yeah. But yeah, this last arc just shows you, you know, how far down this Kingpin rabbit hole he's gone, and you know, it shows you that perhaps a lot of the trauma from Karen that he never got to talk about is now surfacing, right? Like, it's on the surface, so you get to see the different mental state that he's in than when he started. And a lot of it, like Foggy at least thinks like maybe this all started with Karen Page. At first he's thinking like, he's like, oh, maybe I'm just being a little nostalgic. And then he's like, no, I think there's something about this. I think it all fell apart when Karen Page died. Yeah. And I mean, it was tragic. It was tragic. And it did impact Matt's life.
Yeah.
You know, actually, my favorite Bendis Daredevil story is not until the second omnibus. And I thought it was so unique. I wanted those kind of stories a little bit more. But this omnibus ends with issue number 60, right? Where him and Milla are having this fight. And she's like, I don't want to be married to you anymore. And he's like, oh, I'm an idiot.
And then she leaves. Yeah, that's where it ends.
And that's, I mean, that is.
They do take down the Yakuza, though. They, you know, him and.
Yeah, Spider-Man. There was that big fight, and Sano got killed Agent Driver, and then.
Everybody teams up together to do it, which is nice.
And then Daredevil puts on the costume again to go out there and fight, and took him down. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So
now everyone knows that Matt is Daredevil. So okay.
Maybe
I don't know. I'm still
fighting it, right?
Yeah, he's still fighting it.
He's still fighting it.
At what point do we have like the memeable image of him doing the like Christmas sweater saying he's Daredevil? Like, when does that happen?
Oh, that's in the Mark Waid run.
Oh, okay.
Like he's in California and he's got that sweater that says I'm Daredevil.
I mean, Wade's gonna be. Are you going to LexCon to see Mark?
Oh, well, I didn't know that he was going to be there, but I promised some tickets to a couple of friends, so I got to go and pick them up. So I may go on Sunday.
If you do, will you stop by Sway Arts booth and tell me what prints he's got?
Yeah, sure. Are you going to be in the country?
I
think it's in March sometime.
March 11th.
I might.
That weekend.
I think I'm there, but it's like the week before I go to Scotland.
So, ladies.
Anyone that chats in Scotland, hit me up.
Anyone.
Anyone.
Just hit her up in Scotland. You heard her. All right. This is how Maddie disappears, by the way, and we go viral. The Search for Maddie Netflix show.
I
just watched Gabby.
I'm gonna get that chick.
Oh, is it good?
It is really good. I've binged, it's only 3 episodes, but I watched all of it last night. I was like, I just gotta see.
What was it?
Gabby Petita, when you're talking about the viral.
That's on my to watch list. I just wanted to make it like a true docu-series. We'll get what's her name? It'll be her comeback to play you. The girl that was was a Mandalorian.
Oh my God! Why would you say that to me? No. Get the other lesbian as a Mandalorian.
No, it'll be her comeback role, man. She gets to play you.
Maddie
will come back in Scotland
and murder you as a ghost.
Omar's gonna get that Angels Company, the people who make all those like religious flicks.
All right.
Evan Sorbo will be in it. He will be
Zachary Levi can be Elliot. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be gone anyway. This is your fault for leaving. All right. Let's What did you all like about this?
10.
What I like about it.
What did you love about it? What was your favorite part about this book?
Well, I like that beginning story. I really liked the White Tiger arc because I didn't think that's where it was going to go, and I liked the whole behind the scenes of what's going on with Kingpin because I find Kingpin to be a very fascinating character. So the whole Kingpin art with him and his wife, and I was wondering if he was going to come back or not the whole time, or what was going to happen with him. So I liked that, and I really liked the White Tiger art. I mean, Milla was okay. I don't know. I don't know if I was a fan of Milla as much as maybe Maddie was.
Is it because she's blind?
What? No, it's not
because she's blind. Yeah.
Just because she's blind?
No, I just like. Oh no.
Oh no, you're frozen.
I am frozen.
That's a good look, Amanda. That's a good look for you, though.
It's not that bad.
Yes, it is.
It's not that bad. I can't remember how we fixed it the last time. So she likes that arc. Was there something you didn't like, Amanda?
What didn't I like? The owl arc for me was probably that, and I didn't care for the Yakuza. I did kind of skim those pages a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know. I just something about the story. I was not. I just was not feeling it. I think it was kind of a anticlimactic way to end the run. I don't know.
Well, there's another.
Well, this
Omnibus, right? Like, I think it was a good stopping point because Bendis's arc is one arc after another, right? Like the Underboss arc goes into the next arc, and the next arc goes into the mutant growth drug. So, oh my god, I'd rather see your frozen face.
So I agree. I think the first part with Ben Urich is my favorite, honestly. With the Alex Mack arc, I think that's on its own. I think this is a story I'm going to remember and recommend to other people when they're looking for because I love like looking at the other people that are involved outside of like the main character a lot of times. Like same with like Marvels. I always think about Marvels, and that kind of fits in the same sort of genre. But I enjoyed the whole first bit with Vanessa Fisk, my new favorite. I enjoyed a lot of that part. I really like the art. I like that regardless, like when the art changes, it still has this feel of like almost like taking a photograph of a person and then illustrating over it. Like both of them have that kind of feel to them with the way that like they pose their people, which I think carried on throughout. I enjoyed Matt's conversations with his exes. But that was very interesting. But yeah, the stuff once we get to the owl, once we get to the Yakuza, I liked Milla a lot, but things surrounding Milla, the other things that weren't Milla time, it fell flat. Like I like the conversation between Foggy and Matt towards the end of this omnibus of like his breaking point, even though I think Foggy laid on a little too thick. I think he needs to be a little bit nicer. Personally,
you ain't got time to be nice, man. People are dying out there.
Yeah, I think Foggy could be a little nice. I get it, but he can be a little nice. But I thought there was a lot of just kind of like the Yakuza was lame. Like I don't know why he put it in there. Like I think it could have been better served if used differently. And that's as a Yakuza fan, personally.
Yeah.
You know it's bad if you put Yakuza in there, and I'm like, ugh. You know. But I had a good time.
After you defeat Kingpin, where do you go from there?
More Kingpin, you let him out.
And take and take over and become Kingpin. Which I don't know if they've explored that enough. I feel like that.
Agreed. I think if they had done something with that, I think it would have been a lot cooler. Like to show him trying to like
instead
lead
of
this group in a way that would help Hell's Kitchen. But they just
tell us about it. They just tell us that he helped Hell's Kitchen. And that his girlfriend also happens to work for the housing commission.
Yeah,
but we don't actually see what he's doing. All we see is they tell us, and then the other superheroes tell us that things are bad with their bird because of what he did. So it's like maybe that would have been more interesting.
Yeah,
because like didn't in the Nightwing that we just had, didn't he like kind of help the city? And use the money, and that like we saw that actually happening. I don't know.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, and that's why I like that run so much. One of the reasons why I like that run. So,
which is a great comparison, Amanda, because I think like you could kind of compare Bloodhaven and Hell's Kitchen in a way.
100%.
If you're gonna compare the two.
Yeah, so that would have probably been better for me too, and that's probably why that last two arcs fell flat.
Yeah.
So my biggest issue with Bendis is. I can forgive continuity. That's fine. Whatever. I can forgive characters acting out of character. That should be on the editor. The editor should be like, hey, she shouldn't be like this. That's not the way Typhoid Mary is. Okay. Is exactly what you just both said. Is that Kingpin arc was so awesome at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that Bendis does the Bendis thing, which a lot of people really love, of the talking heads, which is just dialogue and dialogue between two characters just sitting around, right? Instead of showing other things going on, like showing, moving the story along and padding out a story into 6 issues so it can be like one arc, right? Like Underboss really, with everything that happened, could have happened in 4 issues. Yeah. But if you wanted to make it a little bit more epic, 12 issues, but also show, the slow rise of this guy, not just like get rid of him like that. Plus, I think like it feels like we're building up, and then out of nowhere, the Kingpin comes back. It was almost like a little. I'll be honest with you, I forgot that he came back in this omnibus. I thought it wasn't until the second omnibus that the Kingpin came back.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that was quick. Like he's just back. He just got killed in the second story arc, and now he's back for that big fight in the 50th issue. I think it would have benefited, like the pacing would have been a little bit better if it was, I like my dialogue, but it's almost a little too much, especially when it's repetitive dialogue of Foggy. Because when you mentioned that Foggy conversation with Matt, that happened a lot, like more than 3 times throughout this book.
Yeah, exactly.
We get it. I get it.
I understand.
And the way the detectives talk to each other, the way the gangsters talk to each other, it's like sitting around and, it makes for good television. I don't know if it makes for good I'm sorry, not for me. Not like I need it to be interesting and to move the story along.
Well, it doesn't. It's like it's a static thing that we have to keep listening to. It's not really doing much of anything. Like it's not like Matt's changing his mind after like listening to Foggy. It's not doing anything.
And that honestly is my biggest gripe about his run. I actually had a lot of fun this time around rereading this. I got hooked on the first story because I really like it, and I guess I'm the only idiot in the group that was like, "Oh, he's got superpowers," and he sent his dad to the farm. Like I thought that's what. I'm like, "Oh, that's right." He just his dad.
I guess I didn't think about that because it's in Hell's Kitchen. If this was a Fantastic Four run, I'd be like, "Oh my god!"
I just thought mutants are part of all this, so why not?
Yeah.
And then the next story arc I really enjoyed, and then Underboss, and then Out is something that I've read before, right? Out is a story that we've seen in Fall from Grace. Out is a story that we've seen in the Silver Age where he gets outed, right? Like everybody knows.
Yeah.
But I still dug it. I actually like the Yakuza. I know you two had a problem with that, but I kind of like that aspect of things. So it's just like, how is he handling being boss? Of course, people have to come after him, right? Yeah. So I just
I think we're gonna give a rating. Well, I guess we went for Amanda. Should Matt go back?
I'm gonna give her a call and see what she would rate it. That way you can. I don't know if she's coming back with her internet.
My rating, I think, overall, because I still had a good time. So in my mind, I'm leaning towards a 7.
7's good.
Because I had a really good time. I think there's some really highs. I think the lows aren't bad. I think it's still readable. It's still a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you go like, oh my god, and just like a huge change. It does go consistent.
Amanda,
good time.
I have to restart. I'm restarting.
You don't have to restart it. What would you rate this book out of 10? This is the weirdest rating of it.
I think I would rate this as 7.5 out of 10.
7.5.
We're usually pretty close.
Yeah, you two are pretty close, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, God bless you. Good night.
Good night. I'm going to not use my personal computer apparently anymore.
I guess not. It's time to upgrade, Amanda. All right.
I guess so.
I am going to give this a 7.5, actually.
Nice.
I had a lot of fun with this one. And the artwork is beautiful. Seriously. I don't know. It used to make me angry. And now maybe I'm just getting older and I'm like, it doesn't make me angry as much as it used to.
Yeah.
I can see why people love it. And maybe that's what it is after years and years of reading these stories. I can actually see the beauty of why people love it. And it kind of maybe brings up my score a little bit, which is weird. Because I remember I hated this. I was like, this is I was pissed. I was like, this is
I think when you're not reading things as they come out, sometimes it can kind of help. Like, you can distance yourself.
And I think at the time, everybody was hyping up Bendis. Like, this is the guy, man. You need to read it. And I was coming back to comics and I read this. I did go back and read Ultimate Spider-Man. I think I don't think highly of that book, but this one here, this one was a 7.5, out of 10. And this is regarded, to a lot of people as the best Daredevil.
Yeah, if you look up on Marvel Unlimited, like Daredevil runs, because it's impossible to search, even though the app is better than it was. If you look up Daredevil the character, this is one of the first runs that pops up.
Oh yeah, this Ed Brubaker's is still my favorite. I love Ed Brubaker's run. I love Mark Waid's run. I don't, ranking the Daredevil runs is difficult because there's just been so many good ones. It's been stellar, like Chip Zdarsky's run, of course, Frank Miller.
It's Sparrow James. I did nothing to make this. I mean, I spent a lot of money to try to make my internet better, and I guess it just happened to eventually work. So
Bob Gale, don't forget, he also wrote Back to the Future. But yeah, it wasn't anything to write about. It was just there, right? Actually, Shadowland is pretty solid. Like, people hate on Shadowland, but I think they hate on the tie-ins of Shadowland. The Daredevil run and Shadowland by Andy Diggle, I dug, and that's after the Ed Brubaker run. Maddie, you look like you are feeling a lot better lately. Was it sinus surgery?
I mean, that helped a lot. I can smell things. That's exciting. Important. But they are going back, so I have to do a shot every 2 weeks until I guess I'm dead. But I can smell.
And I think that's very important. 7.5, 7.5. I mean, that's pretty good for but if you read it, let us know in the comments what you would give it. And more importantly, next month we're starting March.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, send me your picks.
Oh, I will. It'll be X-Men, right? It'll be X-Men, and probably when are you leaving? I just want to go ahead and try to book
yeah. So I'll only be gone 1 week. And that is March 15th through the 23rd. So I'm only gonna miss 1 Tuesday next month.
Okay.
But the month after I miss 2 because I'll be in Japan.
That's awesome. Let's do, maybe you're leaving on the 15th, maybe the 11th, March 11th.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, let's do March 11th for Old Reader, New Reader, and I'll see if Amanda is up for it. Okay.
She's back. And I'll be back next week. Sean from the Comic House is coming on. I owe you a book.
It's the best.
So tomorrow I will send you. It's on me, so I need to think about a book to have Sean read. So I'm trying to think through. I'm nervous because you've read so many things.
He has, and Sean's a smart dude.
So I'm like, do I do Upgrade Soul again? Because I've only reviewed it once.
Has he not read it?
Hey, Sean, have you read Upgrade Soul? Can we talk about Upgrade Soul? It's my favorite.
March is so cheesy. It's the best month of the year, man. Best month of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm already about this March. Everybody should be, man.
I'm excited to have Sean. Planetary.
Planetary will be good, but next month, since it's March, I gotta do the X-Men. I don't know which one.
Well, so I just read Days of Future Past with Tina.
2 issues.
This past month.
What did you give it, you monster?
I did okay.
Okay.
It was better than. Ooh, okay. I'll send you the information.
Oh, don't even read up. Don't
look up anything about it.
It's good.
It's very important. You don't give anything about it. I'll message you later. You just give me your address. I'll send you a copy.
Good.
Ooh, Planetary. I can't do. Sorry. No. But other things. Snot Girl's coming back, so I'm really stoked about that.
Is it Brian Lee O'Malley?
Yeah, it's finally. It's been because it ended or it paused before the pandemic, so it's back, baby.
Okay, Amanda, are you frozen? I can't.
She's back.
We can't hear you now.
Oh, she's quiet now.
Which is probably the best version of Amanda.
Also, if either of you want souvenirs, you can either choose a souvenir from Scotland or a souvenir from Japan.
My souvenir is going to be this big.
I've made a souvenir Excel sheet, so tell me.
Ooh, I want one from Scotland.
I'll find you something Outlander themed.
Sounds
Elliot
good.
told me not to touch the stones, or else I'd go back in time and fall in love with the Scotland or Highlander and then leave him.
I was told not to touch the stones because people pee on them.
No, you just
This is a
teleport back in
tradition.
time.
Or travel back in time. Okay.
Nice.
Apparently, Song Girl is back. Came out January 8th,
Nice.
number 17.
Yeah.
So we are scheduling old reader, new reader for March, and I was suggesting the 11th for the
Sounds
X-Men
good.
week. And I'll
Sounds
pick a
good.
couple books out and let the Patreons vote for it. Anything else, Maddie? Amanda got her internet restored.
Just in time.
Just in time for you to say goodbye.
I know how it feels as somebody who couldn't do a show for months. No, that's about it. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. If you're check us out later, let us know how you feel about this omnibus. And of course, you can always send in recommendations for future review videos. That's always welcome, because even though I am an older reader now, 6 years is not enough to have caught up on the wide amount of comic books I need to read. So I'm always into that, especially if it's on something that I have access to, like Marvel Unlimited, and hopefully one day DC Universe Unlimited, which is my favorite thing that's ever happened. Let me know. I hope you like this video. You can always share our Patreon to vote for each month's pick. What are you guys watching tomorrow? Talking about tomorrow for real stuff.
We're talking about
Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Series finale. The last half of season 6. We are talking about the SNL 50th anniversary special,
which was great.
I wanted to talk about the BAFTAs because that was interesting.
Don't even know what that is.
The British Awards.
Yes, for film and television.
Oh, did Amelia Perez also?
I don't want to talk about it, but yes,
Gross.
it did win for a foreign language film.
That movie is so awesome.
Stop! I hate the fact that you still have that.
Can I go ahead and invite myself to join when you talk about Superman this summer, please and thank you? And also Andrew.
We need to do Superman. We need to do Superman too. That was a really good idea.
Before Superman comes out.
I figured
we've done all of the Supermans almost.
Man, we got Fantastic Four and Superman coming out the same month.
God, it's gonna be the best month. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Miriam Perez changed my life as well as it
shut up.
For the worst.
Tell our viewers to shut up. What if it did change his life?
Sorry, that was rude.
What the fudge?
It was a funny silly one.
You want us to rank David Lynch films?
I have to watch
most of them. A David Lynch film. Which one have you watched?
I don't even know if I can recall.
Doesn't even know.
I watched Twin Peaks, and that's it.
Twin Peaks. That's about it. There we go. That's.
Oh, Aaron, you gotta hear Amanda go off on Amelia Perez.
Well, they did a whole movie set in a country that they didn't even do any research on because they were like, we don't have to.
They didn't even film in the country. They didn't even film
in any Mexicans.
No, the one actress was Mexican. The actress that Amelia Perez sleeps with later on, that she was Mexican.
James, I have not watched Sonora yet. This coming week is the Oscar movie week, next week in the theater. So I might try to catch up on some stuff. But I'm not sure. But everyone should go watch Heart Eyes instead. Any Oscar nominated films because it was great. Companion was okay.
Not Hard Eyes. Heart.
Heart.
It actually went up because it came out last weekend, but this weekend it actually.
Did you watch Mulholland Drive? I feel like that's the most normal one that you may have watched.
I have never watched Mulholland Drive. I just know what it is and I know who stars in it. Why? I just know.
Well, we're gonna go see Monkey.
I've seen it. I know it because I've seen it, and that's the only reason why I know Mulholland.
Well, it's one that I know has it came out in the late 90s, I think.
It did, yeah.
No, early aughts. Late 90s was the other one, which is
Naomi Watts was in that, right?
Yeah. Straight Story. That's the one that came out in the late 90s.
So for movies coming out, Monkey comes out this weekend. That looks really great. And also next week, that new Gundam movie, but it's directed by the person who did Evangelion, is coming out. It looks really good.
Ano's doing.
Yeah. It looks cool.
No, Jack, you can yell at them, but I've never seen those films.
You let Jack Ferry yell. This is about. I need to watch Heart Eyes, but I did watch Paddington in Peru. Yes, James, that was really sweet. He went to Peru.
That's where he's from. He's Peruvian like you.
I know. That's why Paddington. I love marmalade and hats.
You've never worn a hat.
You've never seen. I have worn many hats. Thank you.
What have you worn?
While I'm eating my marmalade sandwiches.
Just that weird cowboy hat thing that he's got once.
That weird that's a legit cowboy hat. Why is it weird? Like it came from a cowboy store.
He knocked out a cowboy and took the hat.
That's how
you
he damn lucky I didn't take his damn belt buckle either. This old new reader spiraled the same way Bendis Daredevil.
Chris, that's a really good analogy. I'm so happy.
That's how I like it.
Yeah.
Are we doing Spider-Man? Because you said I stopped watching because I said, well, let's do Cobra Kai.
I'm 2 episodes, but I only need to watch 2 episodes. You said I need to watch it, so you better get on it.
But did you not see the other text
messages? Dumb true crime documentaries.
I was invested in Gabby's story, and I hate that we're never gonna have the answers because they're
Hey, spoilers. I haven't seen it. Go watch the OJ one.
It's a real
thing that happened.
It's a real thing. Or go watch The Gorge. You know what?
Wait, so is the OJ one. I'm watching The Gorge. I'm going to watch The Gorge tonight. I only got 2 episodes left.
It reminds me why I like Miles Teller.
Dude, Spider-Man's animation is so awful. Like, I almost stopped watching it because I'm like, I can't do this. I'm finally watching Jessica Jones. It's
Matthew.
How are you, Matthew?
Your art posts have been killing it on Blue Sky. Killing it.
Have you announced what your secret projects are yet? So we all agree that Bendis Daredevil is the best. I'm glad it's 7, 7.5, and 7.5. 7.5, 7, 7.5. There you go. What matters is that you like it, though. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones season 6 is good. So much. Thank you, Arjun, for the review of Game of Thrones.
Really, it's not.
So much better than season 5. I can't remember. Anything else, Maddie, before you wrap up tonight?
No, that's it. Everybody, I hope you have a good night.
You don't have to send me weird hats, Bruce.
Bruce. Weird hats.
Please don't send weird hats.
Weird hats.
But sign me up for Marmalade of the Month Club. I'm down for that. We weren't mocking you. You can't read my tone, Arjun. I was just saying thank you for the review.
Now you should watch our review. Did we review those seasons? I feel like we did.
Yes, you've made me watch a lot of stupid stuff.
Wait, it's Game of Thrones. That's not stupid to you. Wait,
that final season was really stupid.
Well, not those 2 seasons, but okay. Hold on.
All right. Everybody have a good night. If you were getting hit by the snowstorm, stay safe.
Stay states.
Stay states. Stay safe and stay warm. And we will see y'all next time.
Bye-bye, everybody.